Una y dos. Y dos. Una y dos. Una y dos.
Hello and welcome to Cortesnyc Livestream, the podcast.
This show broadcasts out of New York City.
We are your hosts, Cortesnyc,
And Carla de Puerto Rico.
and on this show we talk about art, creativity, city life from a Latino perspective. I'm a visual artist.
And I'm a singer.
And this is episode 88, Content Creators 2020.
As always, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and Spotify, and on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr.
And don't forget my online store, cortesnyc.bigcartel.com. Over there you can find original art, graffiti pins, graffiti stickers, posters. So if you want to support your local artist and you love my art, go to cortesnyc.bigcartel.com and check me out.
And also follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, my SoundCloud. I have my album Otras Versiones out now.
And let's get on with this.
Wow. New soundtrack.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
2020. 2020,
Like
bitch.
a
2020,
rock.
bitch.
Excuse me. It's like a rock type of like pop rock.
That's
punk
how
rock.
that's how I'm
I
coming
like
into
it.
this new year.
Like Foo Fighters style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
I like it. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.
We are already in 2020. Cannot believe it.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Time flies, right?
Time definitely flies.
So-
I've been in New York for 6 years now, which is nuts.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 7 years now, 2020. And it's crazy how times just pass by.
How long have we been married now?
5 years, this year is gonna be 6.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It really feels shorter.
Yeah, it does.
This podcast
Like-
feels shorter.
Yeah, and it's gonna be 2 years.
Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This podcast is already gonna be 2 years old.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, so this is what sparks this whole feeling. This whole vibe is what's sparking my art talk this time. I recently started looking because of you relaunching your YouTube channel
yeah.
and your Instagram. We started looking at content again. You know what we have out there, and I looked at my own channel and I realized, holy shit, I've been on YouTube since 2006.
That's crazy. That's like before there were YouTubers.
That's 14 years ago.
Before, that's nuts.
That's 14
I cannot
years
believe
ago.
that the internet has been around us since. Like, it feels so short, but like the time that I've been on the internet, like it feels long, but at the same time it feels so short. It's because it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And there's constantly new apps, new updates that you forget.
Well, okay, so there's yes and no. I got points for all that. Yes and no, because there are some things that have stuck around, like YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
My point is, I didn't realize it's been so long that I started on YouTube in 2006, and I wasn't part of the first group on YouTube. YouTube was already established. I'm not like a trendsetter like that.
Yeah.
So, but I can't believe that it's been that long. It's been 14 years that I've had my YouTube channel, and a lot has changed, and it's made me realize, I think this year's gonna be the year for a reboot.
Yeah. Sure.
It's gonna be a year for me to rethink what I'm putting out there as far as content and to reinvent it a little bit. I'm not even worried about my website as much as I'm worried about right now this year my YouTube.
Yeah, I mean that's where you get actual like people to actually pay attention to you.
Yes and no. So that's another point that I have. A lot has changed. YouTube had a downfall for me, had a dip, especially in the last couple of years when they took away the AdSense. It made me feel like I'm wasting my time on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna come to this point of why I'm kind of turning back around on it. And I think it has to do with just me analyzing it, and maybe you guys want to join me in this little brainstorm here and how you guys feel about it. So first of all, I want to start by saying, okay, 14 years. what does it mean to be a content creator in 2020 compared to when I first started on YouTube?
Right.
When I first started on YouTube was just full of gags and full of like people doing stunts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. But now what you have is video game things and that kind of thing is like the thing. And
Video
ratings
games and makeup. Makeup is big. Video games, reviews. And
Reviews, anything,
ratings,
reviews,
conversational stuff, like because there's a lot of restrictions in terms of the how you call it freaking when they call the rights of the artists for the music or whatever. There's a lot of content creator that what they do is just put a camera and start talking. So there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's been the battle against ads.
Yeah.
That didn't really exist back then when let's say 14 years ago. It's a long time. I know I'm going to sound like I'm crazy old, but it didn't exist back then. Mm-hmm. Like, so in 2020, you're battling, your content is up against, the biggest thing I think right now is advertisers, commercial entities. YouTube is full of ads. I mean, any video that you watch now has 3 ads. So they got rid of AdSense for most of the regular creators that were just like random people creating stuff out of their own interests.
Yeah, and they like doubled it for
the other people, the people that are paying for it and that have that kind of outreach that can support a YouTube channel with ads at this point. Yeah. The other thing that you're competing with is media, meaning the news, meaning like any kind of new news channels or networks, let's say a Netflix or anything that's trying to do a streaming service. Yeah. Like any of these media companies, like they are fighting you down. Yeah. They are taking you out if you are a random content creator. And then the last thing is actual news. Mm-hmm. We're in a social climate right now that I never imagined 14 years ago. 14 years ago, things felt kind of like the internet could be a recreational place for you to escape and have fun. Mm-hmm. Now the internet is a place where you go and you're surrounded by negativity.
News, and then all the news, everything that is happening around the world, you see it there. And YouTube now, it's even kind of like a stream for news as well, because then this news network, they have YouTube channels as well. And
exactly.
They're part of that community and they get the ads. Because when you go to watch news or a clip or whatever, you get ads on that too. So
yeah, I mean, well, I'm even saying the news, even beyond it being, I'm saying even in society.
No, I know. Yeah.
Socially, we're in a different climate where you might just post something. You have no intentions of anything negative towards anybody, and you're gonna have people from all around, all types of different social backgrounds coming at you and like. Maybe having their own opinions about what you posted, right. Whether it's political or racial or, let's say any kind of bias, whether it's sexual, LGBT or ageist, people that are ageist, who are the old people, these young little kids, things like that, whatever it might be. Like now, like more than ever, because 14 years ago it wasn't like that. 14 years ago you put up a video about something and people didn't even care. They were just happy that you put something up. Now people are really cynical,
and judgmental.
Yeah. So I think for this little segment here, 2020, being a content creator in 2020, I think you're battling these monsters right now, and they're big. There's another thing that I was thinking about, and another reason why I wanted to talk about this is 14 years ago, I might have created an audience, right? And I do have a following on YouTube. It is still there. But in 2020, 14 years later, I have to hit myself in the head to remind myself that I have a new wave of audience waiting for me. Yeah. And I forget that we're in this age of the internet where just because you put something out 14 years ago, it's new to somebody out there that might be discovering you right now. You have a whole different generation of people online looking at videos, looking for art, looking for content. Right. And
then also with new interests.
New idea, new ways of seeing content online, whether it's on their phones or whatever. When before we didn't think that way. Now you have to think that way. And their approach to being a fan is different. and how they support you is different.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just like, I'm blown away by that too. That I have to remind myself that it has been a long time. You know what I mean? And it's fast for me, but for other people, I might have an audience now that actually were raised on the YouTube that I got in on.
Yeah.
And I don't realize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were probably born when I got on YouTube.
Exactly.
So for them, YouTube always existed.
Exactly.
For me, YouTube was a new kind of experiment versus, let's say, PBS or a public access channel or something like that. It was like, oh, this is an experiment. This is interesting. For them, no, this is a channel. This is a legit.
It's always been
as legitimate as television was for me. Like
Exactly.
it's an actual media outlet, and that's how they see it. So that's another reason to look at it. If anybody out there is following me on this brainstorm, reasons to reboot and reinvent in the 2020, the year 20, in the decade, for the new decade, your content creation. So let's come to this point. You were talking about Instagram. You hinted at it.
Yeah.
Instagram. Facebook feels like it's so oblivious to me right now that it's anybody who's generating content for Facebook is probably wasting their time, because Facebook can be a place where the information eventually ends up, but you don't do it for Facebook. You do it for another medium,
yeah, but then also with Facebook, you can upload videos to Facebook now, and they can go as viral as posting it on Instagram.
Yeah.
So,
but I think
on YouTube. Sorry.
I think for me the question is a matter of who's really posting and is it getting lost in the mess.
Yeah.
And I think on Facebook it's just it's such a mess, the audience, that things do get lost. I think I'm gonna put my money between Instagram and YouTube. The past, since I've been on YouTube, I was on YouTube before Instagram even existed, right?
Yeah.
Then Instagram came along and I was like, oh, this might be something new, but it was just photos. Then they started doing video and I was like, all right, maybe you could do video. Then when the AdSense was removed and a mass burst of it across all YouTube creators, when it was removed for so many people, I felt like, well, fuck YouTube, Instagram then.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking back at it and I'm saying Instagram still doesn't have something that YouTube has. And there's still a reason to be on YouTube and to be creating content for YouTube. So I think there's a balance right there for me. I think Instagram is also getting filled with ads now.
Yeah,
which is making me say fuck Instagram. Like I'm having this weird tug of war between the two.
Yeah.
Another thing to think about is maybe moving forward is there new platforms to be explored in this new decade, because there is a new generation. They're going to be on a new platform. And what's this new platform? I know we talked about Twitch before. I haven't.
Well, now there's TikTok.
TikTok
That's
is another
a new
one.
thing, but I really don't understand it. But it's like videos where they do movements and it's like on timing and yeah, but
so maybe that's one to explore. I'm gonna write that down on my list.
Yeah.
TikTok.
But
if you guys out there listening to us, if you guys know of any other platforms I should be paying attention to, any other apps, let me know.
before
what you
there
think.
was that other app that was short videos, but that's not anymore.
Periscope.
No, another app.
Wow.
I don't remember. But yeah, there was another app where there was short videos. A lot of the content created for that app moved to YouTube now. But yeah. It's crazy.
So I was definitely, that's this tug of war between Instagram and YouTube that happened for me for these past couple of years. Like I definitely feel like, yeah, let me go back to YouTube. I think I need to rethink it, even if there isn't AdSense on there, even if some of it might get lost and it isn't getting the attention that it could. I still think because it's lasted this long and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's a good archival website.
And there's so many ways that you can go viral. Like not go viral, but that your video gets so many views. Like you just have to be aware of the trends and what's happening out there.
Right. We were looking at categories on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's another thing to look at when you are going to post content nowadays. I think most websites, and there's a lot of information out there online because there's so many people now going and making content. there are ways to track what kind of categories, what are people watching, what are the age demographics. For example, I was looking here. There was some quick stats. I don't believe all these stats, but I don't, because a lot of these stats could be fake. I don't know who's making these freaking stats, but I mean, like here it says there's 62% of businesses use YouTube. So out of all businesses, 62%, that's more than half.
That's high.
Businesses are using YouTube, when before, like I said, there was no businesses on YouTube. And now it's 62%. So you're competing with real legit businesses on there. The balance between men and women on YouTube, to me, I don't know, whatever. I don't think the male-female demographic really has ever made sense to me, and it's very weird to put it into genders, especially when people can identify differently. It's just weird.
Right.
So that one throws me off. But the age thing, they have the demographic on YouTube is the fastest growing is 35 to 55. Ages 35 to 55 is the age groups that are the fastest growing demographic on YouTube, right? 35 to 55. That's kind of mature.
Yeah.
Probably more mature than Instagram.
But it makes sense given that the YouTube has been here since for 14 years. So the people that started with YouTube are still on it.
Exactly.
And then new generations for the internet, that are older, they go to YouTube and they use it for whatever. They look up tutorials for do little crafts things and recipes and stuff like that. So
Instagram, the stat is ages between 18 and 34.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're a little younger. They're skewing a bit younger. But these demographics, the information is out there. If you wanted to know who's the average person watching, who's the average person on there, what kind of things are they looking at? Are they looking at things about clothing, about sneakers, or about video games, or about whatever it might be, whatever your interest is.
Yeah.
And then you could look at what is it, the content that you're putting, and are people even interested in that? And
it's very specific to the type of content that you're doing, because, for example, in music and singers, what I've noticed is that when a new song comes up from any artist that is very popular, and you do a cover of it through like that first week or second week that the song is out, you get a lot of views.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it all depends on your specific field and what is going on around it.
And so another thing that popped up, and another reason why all of this started popping into my head, this concept of rebooting and really looking at how do you create content now in 2020 for the new decade, was the tools changed. When I first got on Instagram, on YouTube, I had bought a brand new camera back then. I had bought a brand new computer back then. This camera is completely obsolete, and I used it all these years. It's crazy. I used it 14 years.
It worked.
And it worked. It worked for all the videos. All the videos you see on YouTube, I was using that camera. And now I got a new camera, and I realized the quality has changed, and the quality of the videos that are uploaded on YouTube has changed. And over the years, the quality of the cinematography of what people are uploading has changed. The other thing that has changed for me, so I did buy a new camera, and yes, I'm ready to create new content with this new camera. I know that the quality is going to look different. The other thing that changed for me was digital art has changed. Yeah. From back then, where maybe it was Photoshop and Illustrator, now I've made episodes about it on here on the podcast, but the iPad, using my iPad with the Procreate program, that's a game changer. Time-lapse
videos, but with the digital medium.
Exactly. That's a total game changer. The quality for a fast product that you can put out, your time-lapse artwork, it's incredible what you can do. So there are new tools for me that are kind of re-energizing my view of like, okay, this decade's going to be a strong decade. I got to make it strong. Also, the music equipment has changed and music production. And that's another thing that wasn't on YouTube when I first started on YouTube. 14 years ago, you didn't have so much information about how to make music online. Yeah. YouTube was not filled with that kind of content, and now you have it everywhere. You want to learn how to use a certain program, a certain music production program. You want to learn about equipment. It's all there.
Everything
all the reviews are there of all the latest tools, all the latest equipment. Yeah. So I took advantage of that as well and got some new equipment. I'm amped up, and it's faster and cleaner and easier than ever for me to make music. So I definitely want to do all these things, and I think something I'm going to contribute in this decade is going to be tutorials. I think I need to sit down and put some tutorials together. I always shied away from it 14 years.
That's what people are looking for now.
Yeah. At 14 years on YouTube, I never did a tutorial, and I think it's time to start to do it because that is what people are into, and that's
and having your credentials on, for example, graffiti. I think it's gonna be very easy for you to kind of like make a tutorial of like 5 minutes, and
the funny thing is on YouTube, you make your own credibility.
Right.
As far as artists on YouTube goes, you develop your own credibility. You start putting up videos, the stuff makes sense. It's done in a clean and clear way. You're explaining ideas and all that. People will follow you. You build up credibility, and you have people around the world learning from you. So for me, it was just difficult to do it because I just never thought of myself as a teacher. So I never thought that I would really invest time into tutorials. But I think now
there's so many tutorials out there. Nobody's a teacher.
Exactly.
They're just explaining it as if they're talking to their friend. And they're just talking. And like I look at a lot of makeup videos. And, the girls are just talking about their shit and they're doing their makeup. Yeah. And they like, I'm going to do this here, this there. And, that's the way people learn.
So I think anybody out there who's a content creator, 2020, this new decade, think about it. Think about what you want to create. Aim for a target and shoot for it. I think I'll give you two bits of advice I can give you. This is from a 14-year veteran of making content. Number one, don't make promises, just make content. Okay? Don't make promises, just make the content. Okay? Don't waste your time making videos about the videos you're gonna make.
Or
don't
post.
Or post and explain like, I'm gonna be doing this next, blah 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 blah, whatever. Next video, I'm gonna be doing that. Like, don't bother making promises. Just make the content, put it out there. Time is short. Make the most of your time, and people appreciate more that you made the content. They don't really care about you promising to make the content. And then number two, make something that matters. And I've said it before, I'm echoing stuff that we've said on this podcast previously. Make something that's timeless, make something that's classic, make something that matters to you and to somebody else. Make something that matters, make something worth posting. I mean, you're competing with this media, you're competing with the news, you're competing with advertisers. Don't waste anybody's time or your time by making some silly joke or gag or like some like pastime thing that you don't really care about. Put your energy into it. If you're gonna make something, you're competing with the big dogs. Make something that matters. And then lastly, to the listeners, we have a YouTube channel for this podcast.
Yeah, we do.
We're slowly uploading these episodes.
We're building it up. We have 10 episodes so far. But yeah, definitely you can follow us. There is Cortesnyc Livestream, and it's just our episodes on a video, and it's easy to just listen to it, leave it on the background, and keep doing what you're doing. But yeah,
and we're doing that. Hopefully that channel can also, we can throw in some tutorials or some things on there in this coming year. Slip them in between podcast episodes. I think that would be helpful, and for the history of the podcast. You know what I mean? Hopefully in 10 years we'll look back at this point and be like, wow, we did the right thing. Just think about me. 14 years passed very fast. So I'm your voice of wisdom from the future. All right, guys. Peace.
Si no estás haciendo todo igual, no tiene ningún color el paso que hace. Separa menos tiempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Culture talk.
Yeah.
Did you almost forget that we're on live?
Yeah, I was going to be like, oh, okay.
Culture talk, Carla. What do you got for us for culture talk? This is a new decade.
Well, actually, it's not.
What?
Did you know?
What?
That the decade does not start in 2020, but in 2021. Because
for reals?
The end of the decade is actually 2020. Like the decades of the 2000s, it ended in 2010, like from 2001 to 2010. It didn't start it in 1999.
True.
No, in 2000, sorry.
Yeah, and it didn't start in 0.
Exactly, it starts in 1.
Right, you're right.
So
okay.
I saw this in Facebook, that's why I know.
Because people want to be wise asses.
Yeah,
I know.
They want to be like, what
smart.
are you talking about, new decade? Because I was posting #New Year, #New Decade.
What? So you were wrong.
And I was wrong, and I was like, oops. and then I laugh at the meme. But yeah. So on this section of Culture Talk, it's a new year, it's 2020, and as always, we have some resolutions. Some people might wish for, not even wish, but, hope for good energy, having a lot of places to travel to, I don't know, exercise, things like that. But I do have my own little list, so I wanted to go over it. And then also just talk about, our goals for the podcast itself and some of the things we have been working on.
I'm here for it. I have a tall glass of red wine. Let's do it.
Oh my God, that's great. So some of my resolutions for this new year, first of all, is consistency. So I like to do a lot of things, but sometimes I'm a little bit inconsistent. I start doing something and then I continue to do something else, and I don't stick to a plan or a schedule. So I will really like for this new year to just be more consistent with my projects and my plans.
Okay.
In terms of, for example, practicing more music. I have my new album out, Otras Versiones, which having a plan for it and sticking up to my plan really helps me to promote and to just share everything that I've been doing for this project. And I think that if I continue with that route of having a pre-plan, it's going to really help me to create content and basically upload it in a organized way.
Gotcha.
Another resolution that I have is exercise. I've said it last year, I've said it the year before, but I'm gonna...
So is it really a resolution, or is it you just...
It's a wish.
It's a guilt?
It's a guilt.
This is a New Year's guilt
Yeah.
list. This is what you have. Okay.
Maybe. So, so I would like to exercise this year, maybe at least once a week or something. I already started the year wrong, but hopefully next week.
Okay. What else you got on your list of guilt?
Yeah.
Your list of shame.
Yeah, it's definitely. Because the next one is I would like to eat healthier.
Right. Papa John's is really healthy.
Papa John's is really healthy. Burgers are really healthy. Crispy chicken sandwiches are really healthy.
Yeah.
But I really want to eat healthy, but then also save more money while eating healthy. Or taking food from home. Like sometimes when I go to work, I spend so much money in lunch. So that's something I can work on for sure.
All right.
And another thing that I have on my list is self-care. So self-care in terms of, knowing more about myself, in terms of my emotions, how to control them, how to be self-aware when I'm being a little bit of a asshole or something to people or whatever.
To your husband.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm a little bitch.
Is this an apology letter is what you're doing? Is this your apology?
It might be.
All
But
right. No, I understand what you're saying. I'm following you. I'm following
yeah,
you.
but self-care in that sense, and then also, in the physical sense, but more than anything, emotional and mentally. So just to keep it together, it's okay. And another resolution for this year will be to travel, which we have been lucky, and the last 2 years we have traveled in very kind of surprise ways. Like it was all of a sudden we're going to these different places. But I think traveling this year, hopefully, if we can do it, that would be great.
Yeah, I think on the topic that you just hit, as far as self-care and emotional care and all that, it's a big, put a little tab on that. This month and next month are very depressing months.
Yeah, it is. Last year's, I was so, I felt it. I was feeling so low.
Yeah, they say that January, I think it's January
February
to
and
February
then up to March sometimes, because
is the most depressing month. It's after the holidays. There's there's a lull in excitement, and
the
it's the
days are
excitement of the
shorter.
new year and all that, and you feel like you're just starting, and the weather as well, obviously, but it brings everybody's energy down, and So that it's something that I always prepare for. That's why I always kind of try to have some PTO, some personal days that I could take off from work to use them in that month. Also, it's a good time to plan projects.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That way, at least you have something occupying you and you don't feel so dead and empty. I think the release of your project during the holidays was smart.
Really smart.
It was very smart. The timing was really good. And then I think now the fact that we're working on your next project, it's really good timing. It's something that we should maybe model this whole schedule into something a little more formal, because I think it makes sense. But yeah, January is a time. People out there, just pay attention to yourselves. If you're feeling blue, you know, plan ahead. Maybe give yourself some.
And more when you live in these north states.
Northern states,
like
in
colder
northern
weather,
states
and colder weathers is when you feel it the most. But for sure, just like I said, exercise. Even exercising and bumping your blood, you know, it can help you to feel better.
And what?
Bumping?
I heard bumping your butt.
No, your blood.
Pumping your blood.
Eso.
I heard bumping your butt. Anybody listening to this, rewind.
Bueno, pero también,
rewind, bumping your butt.
Si eso es lo que tú quieres hacer, no hay problema. También eso lo puedes hacer, no hay
pumping
ningún
your
problema.
blood, got you, Carla.
Pero
I'm here for you, Carla. I'm here to translate. I'm here to help.
Pumping your blood.
Okay.
That's what you need to do. You need to pump your blood up, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
For sure.
So you said here, recap for the show. What's up with that? Almost 2 years.
Yeah. So with the podcast in March, we're gonna be 2 years old.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. I thought we were 1 year old.
Yeah, me too.
And then when I looked up back to the first episode was in March 18th.
That's crazy.
So that's crazy. And one of the goals that we would like to have for this before the 2 years is to have 100 episodes uploaded.
Yeah, I think when we first started, we thought it was going to be 100 episodes in a year.
Yeah.
And we were off to a good track in the beginning, but then just things started sidetracking and all that, and we got off track. But it would be a good goal to complete a year, to complete 100.
100
in,
before
in
the
2 years. Yeah, I think that would be a goal. And it's accomplishable. We can do it. We're up to 88, so there's no doubt we can do it.
It will be like one episode each week.
Yeah.
From now on.
But yeah, I mean, we used to do 2 episodes, 3 episodes a week. So I don't see a problem in doing it.
Yeah.
And I think we're charged.
Yeah.
I don't feel we're creeping up on 100 episodes, and I don't feel out of energy. I just feel like I said, being a content creator in the previous section, being a content creator now is a little difficult. It's challenging when there's no money coming in. Why are you doing it, and what should you be contributing to society?
And, right, like what information you want to share. Is it important for you, which it should always be, but then also it should be important for your audience.
For the audience, and what is it competing against? Because that's the hard thing. You know, you could be putting out some really important stuff that is really important to people, but
nobody cares because they're
preoccupied. Exactly, distracted and preoccupied with other things going on in the news. Makes it really difficult for somebody who wants to put out something of value. That is not touching on those subjects.
Exactly.
So
and then actually so far we have 3,796 downloads. So thank you so much for your listens and for downloading our episodes and subscribing to the podcast.
Yeah, if you listening right now, listening to my voice, if you're a new listener, give us a little shout out. Let us know on Instagram, Cortesnyc Livestream on Instagram. Comment on one of the flyers. Let us know, hey, you're a new listener. And what do you think of the podcast? How did you find us? You know, we would appreciate all this kind of feedback. Anybody listening to us, if you haven't rated us on iTunes, rate us on iTunes. That helps us at least to understand that it's getting out there, that people are, you know, any feedback is good feedback. Just let us know. Even if you don't like what we're talking about, let us know. It doesn't matter.
Tell me, is it boring? Is it good? Is it fun? Is it informative? Is not? Whatever you want.
Can you not understand Carla? You know, all those things.
Exactly. Do you understand me or not? Sometimes I feel like I cannot understand myself, but
it's all right.
We're doing it.
All right, keep going.
And then also, you know, during this last portion of the year, 2019, we have been exploring new topics, and we have been discovering new podcasts and new creative people online, which has been super cool. We have discovered a lot of new Spanish-speaking podcasts, which is very cool because originally, like at the beginning, we only saw kind of like English and or bilingual,
Right.
or like English with a little bit of Spanish. But now we have seen like full Spanish podcasts, which is super.
And full Spanish podcasts that are just regular podcasters, not necessarily something that's being put out there by some commercial entity or a news organization. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
To finally get some of that.
Yeah.
I think also, you know, what I've been seeing in this time that we've been doing the podcast is people kind of cross-platforming. People that do videos doing the podcast, people that do podcasts doing videos, things like that, or even musicians and things like that doing podcasts and vice versa.
Yeah.
I've been discovering more of that, and I think that's very interesting. Also, podcasts on music.
Yeah.
Like podcasts, like giving information to creatives who make music. I think I've discovered more of that, and that's been really exciting and interesting.
Yeah. And then also all the things that I've seen, like we were talking that we have our YouTube channel. So I've seen podcasts that have their audio episodes only on Apple Podcasts, and then on YouTube they have their video episodes where, you know, they have the full show with the full cast. You can see everything that's happening, what they're talking about, the shows, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that's also something that we have been looking at.
Yeah, I mean, we I guess what happens is you don't pay attention until you're in it.
Exactly.
And now that we've been in it 2 years now, you know, I guess we're realizing what's out there and connecting the dots a little bit.
Yeah. So for this new year, 2020, so we have been watching a lot of new shows, very interesting actually, and we're gonna be talking about them in the next episodes coming. We have Netflix, so you know, new shows on Netflix that we're gonna be reviewing and talking about, and yeah, so. There's a lot of new things happening in 2020, and we're gonna have
Carla's running out of steam. Her list got short, and it's over.
We're gonna have a lot of actually also resolutions for the podcast.
Resolutions. Okay, Carla. Let's talk quickly about New Year's. Let's quickly talk about New Year's. The celebration itself and the holiday. So New Year's this year was very quiet.
Very.
Just you and I. We had some drinks with some friends and then went home and crashed early.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's age or it's just the routine or whatever.
I mean, it was a routine, but then also, you know, work and all that.
Yeah.
It was crazy, yeah.
So it's not what it used to be. For me, at least, definitely. But usually New Year's is supposed to be a big party. It's supposed to be a big drinking event. Hangovers are a must and all that.
Yeah.
Have you seen New Year's change over the years? I mean, I can go back before the internet. Yes,
right, yeah.
Definitely. I remember old traditions that just don't seem like they matter anymore.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, before the internet, I'm talking maybe the 90s when I was a kid, you know, there would be more of a get together, and if you weren't there for the event at the time, you felt it. You felt like you missed something.
Yeah.
Because you weren't physically there.
Yeah.
I think now that we're all so globally connected, and we're all connected online, and we're all connected through social media, I think when New Year's strikes, you don't feel it as much, like you had to be somewhere specific. Also, the time doesn't really, I mean, you had your cousin, shout out to your cousin.
Nicole, she was still traveling through Australia.
Yeah.
So for her, New Year's was like a day before us.
Exactly. And then, you know, we see all this news, we hear all this news constantly, and we see people, you know, maybe it starts trending on Twitter or something, hey, Happy New Year's and all that.
Yeah.
And nowadays you just constantly reminded that it's not so local, and it's not just you and your little corner of the world. It's you're on a planet, and New Year's kind of starts losing its magic a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And then like you said, different time zones. New Year's is in a different time. For me, it was mostly all about like being with the family, and then at that time when 12 was coming, just being all together and being ready and counting down and, you know, saying Happy New Year.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, definitely it's different because, you know, we're adults. Things change. But even then, the getting together is in a different concept now. You can get together through webcam, like through Skype.
I think another thing we being in this time now where things are so fast.
Yeah.
You do feel it like people are ready to get on with the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not even at the new year and people already talking about like they're over it and they're on to the new year and they're on to the next year. And I think people just want to move faster.
They want, it's true.
So the new year being like a big like ending to one big year and beginning of another and all that, I don't know if it has the magic that it used to.
Yeah.
Time is not the same that it used to be.
No, it runs. Maybe it doesn't run faster, but it feels like it runs faster because we have so many things going on.
Yep.
So much information with the internet and everything. Also, media in general, like they move on from topics so fast that it makes you feel like time is just passing by and then nothing really important is happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, and then also even like I would even say even movies and stuff like that. Like like they're gearing you up for movies that are slated, aren't even made yet, and they're gearing you up, creating an audience for something that hasn't come out yet.
Like one movie of that franchise maybe came out today, and tomorrow they're already showing you their trailer for 2021.
Yeah, a
and
teaser for 2021, and so you're like already on 2021, and they're talking about Happy New Year, and you're like, I'm waiting for 2021. I want to see that movie. Your brain's already moving so far ahead that your interests are in the future. They're not now.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But
the positive thing, the nice thing about the new year, I don't want to sound just like I'm being crabby, like I'm being all negative. No, the nice thing about the new year, it was nice spending time with you, nice spending time with friends. It is always nice to reflect and look back.
Yeah, it's kind of like that day. It's kind of like, oh my God, it's the last day of the year. Kind of like a review of what have I done and what do I want to do next.
But then the fucking internet, Facebook and Instagram was going to remind you, and Spotify is going to remind you of everything you did for the year. So you don't even need to remember. You don't need to remember. That's the point. You don't need to remember anymore. The internet does it for you.
True.
It's
very frustrating. Okay, frustrating. Very, very frustrating.
Yo, your English is a mess today.
Very, very.
It's been a while since you've been on this podcast. I see that. You're rusty. All right, Carla, but we're not here to talk about your English. We're here to talk about your Spanish.
Yeah, you better.
Hablando español, Carla.
All right.
Wait, let me just introduce you real quick to the new listeners out there. Anybody new that's just coming on to us, new year, new you, new us. This section we call Hablando Español. It's Hablando Español translates into speaking Spanish.
That's right.
And it's a section that we created to help us exercise some of the words that we spoke of earlier in the podcast to speak about them in Spanish, translate them into Spanish, to just kind of remind us how these words would have gone if we were speaking in Spanish.
Right.
It's not so much about teaching you how to speak Spanish. It's not about teaching me or teaching Carla, even though a lot of times we are teaching Carla how to speak Spanish. But it's more about reminding us the words that we already know and how to pronounce them, how to perfect them, and then exercising them, practicing them. So we invite you guys to join us in this. We always post this stuff on Instagram, on our Instagram account. We post a recap of all the words we went over.
Yep.
So Carla, what words do you have for us today?
All right. So given that my English is a little bit complicated today, how do you say resolution?
Ooh, resolution in Spanish.
In Spanish, which is
resolution.
Very simple. I hope you get it.
It's just the pronunciation. Resolución.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Resolución.
Gotcha.
All right. How do you say content creator?
Is there one word or is it literally translating the two words?
Yeah.
Okay. Content creator would be creador de contenido?
Yeah.
Contenido, they say?
Yeah. Creador de contenido.
That sounds weird, contenido. I don't like that one, but okay.
Contenido. Well, that's how we said it in Spanish. Okay,
what else you got?
Next one is healthy. How do you say healthy?
Oh, that's a good one. Healthy. And a lot of you people out there should know this word. So healthy in Spanish is saludable.
Yeah.
Saludable. I always ace these. I don't know why you're surprised.
That's
I
right.
always ace this section.
No, you don't. You're only doing it now because, I don't know, you spend a lot of time watching TV shows in Spanish,
yes.
and now you
On
think
Netflix,
that you're all that, but
and
you're
a bag
not.
of chips. All right.
Okay,
What's
so
next?
how do you say episode?
Episode is episodio.
Yeah, that's right.
I tell you, I ace these every
How
time.
do you say goal?
Goal? Goal is I always get this one wrong. Goal, meta?
Yeah.
M-E-T-A?
M-E-T-A.
Meta. Una meta is a goal. But isn't there, what is
what?
Challenge. Reto? No.
It can be reto, yeah.
It is reto.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people say the whatever challenge and they say el reto.
El reto, yeah.
El reto. So, because goal, meta, but then reto is challenge. And sometimes New Year's resolutions are kind of like more of a challenge than a goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why those two words were kind of like I was playing around.
It plays in your mind, like they move around.
Oh my God.
Okay, next word is decade.
I knew you were gonna say decade. You stole it. I was gonna give that one to you. Decade. Decade in Spanish would be.
How do you say it?
Década. Década.
Yeah.
Década.
That's right.
All right. Decade.
How do you say?
Yep.
Year.
Año. That's an easy one.
Right. And the last one for me, how do you say travel?
Travel.
To travel.
I was gonna say yeah. You gotta specify. To travel would be pasear.
Viajar.
So what's the difference between pasear y viajar?
For me, viajar.
For you. Yeah. For you.
It's in a plane.
What about for Google?
Pasear, it's like walking. I'll look it up.
Pasear is walking. No, that's caminar, Carla. Viajar is...
Take a walk. Pasear, literally take a walk.
And what's viajar?
In a plane.
Right.
You cannot say, I'm going to pasear to Colombia.
Okay, all right. To travel, viajar.
De pasear, andar por placer o para hacer ejercicio por un lugar generalmente al aire libre, despacio, sin un destino determinado.
All right.
And then viajar is more like being on the plane.
All right. So I got a couple of quick ones real quick for you.
Go.
Number 1, audience.
Audiencia.
Number 2,
Yeah.
how do you say channel?
Canal.
So your canal de YouTube.
Sí.
Number 3,
Yeah.
last one,
Yeah.
how do you say recap? I knew I would get you.
Recapitulando.
All right.
Or recapitulación or resumen.
All right. Well, you got it right the last minute, Carla.
I know.
I always gotta stump you at the end.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
All right, but we made it through another episode. Thank you all for all the support this past couple of years. Hopefully this
real.
next decade brings much more content and maybe more interactions with you guys. We've always talked about maybe doing a meetup or something, or maybe doing a live episode, maybe a live video episode, something like that. Maybe a live stream back again, maybe on YouTube or something. We can figure that out. But we're brainstorming. We're thinking about what to do.
Yeah.
And next episode, I'm going to have an interview with Mears. I edited together an interview with Mears, another one of our long drives with Mears 1. And we talk about 5 points and all that. So stay tuned for that as well. And Happy New Year, everybody.
See you next time.